It's Sunday the 22nd of January 2017 and it's time for me to do another pickups video because I think it's been just over 2 months since I did the last one, and what a couple of months it has been. Honestly, I've had some really well, what I think are good finds. There's a collection of stuff that I'm not actually going to show. I'm just going to tell you about it first of all. Now, usually when I do one of these pickups videos, just in case you didn't see the last video I put up about the catastrophic problems I had with the hard drive that I was storing everything on. Usually when I do a pickups video, I have a list of the prices I paid for things and stuff like that. Well, thanks to the fact that I no longer have that list for the last 2 months, my fault, didn't back up. I can only really give you the approximate prices. Sometimes I remember the prices I paid for things, sometimes I won't. It's just I can't really give you an estimate of what I paid because I don't have the list anymore. It's as simple as that. And because a lot of these things came out of charity shops and second-hand shops, I don't tend to keep the receipts anyway, so once I put them on the list, they go in the bin. So I have no idea what I paid for some of this stuff anyway. Unless I remember. So just so you know, maybe I got some good deals, maybe I didn't. I'll just have to hope that I did for some of the stuff. Anyway, so let me start off with, I had, at the end of November, beginning of December, what I do normally is every few weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, I go around all the charity shops near me just to see what they've got in games-wise. Now, a lot of the charity shops near me don't sell, and by the way, if you're an American, a charity shop is like a thrift store. I don't know if you have charity shops over there, but I know you have thrift stores. It's the same sort of thing. Maybe you do have charity shops, but I think they're all sort of churchy ones, if I'm not mistaken. But somebody will clear that up. Anyway, a lot of the charity shops near me don't take electronics anymore, so there's very little chance of running into consoles and things like that. There's a few that do, but the vast majority of them don't. One of the ones that does is a charity called Scope, and I've had a few half-decent finds in there, but this one absolutely takes the biscuit. I went in there not expecting to find much, and generally speaking as well, their games tend to be priced at the higher end of things, you know. So I don't know why, but they just seem to be. So I tend not to buy too many games in there anyway. But I went in, and they have a shelf of sort of electronics. It's usually full of things like tape players and things like that you probably don't want. But I went in and there were 4 consoles sitting there. Most of them were bagged up with gear. And let me just reel off the list. I got an Xbox, original Xbox, brilliant condition, with one first-party controller, a third-party controller, which unfortunately I had to throw away because it was broken, and a power lead. So I've now got an Xbox. I didn't have one. I've now got one. There was a PlayStation 3 slim model with 2 DualShock 3s, 2 6-axis controllers, so 4 first-party controllers, power lead, and again no AV leads, but it takes HDMI anyway, so who cares about that. There was a PlayStation 2 with 2 third-party controllers, both of which unfortunately again were broken, so they've gone in the bin, and a power lead, and again no AV lead. And there was a PlayStation 1, the original model one, with the original model had the 3 RCA connectors and a parallel port on it. So, I mean, the first model PlayStation, I mean, I already had one, but this thing looked like it was brand new. and I've tested them and they all work, apart from, like I say, the third-party controllers, which were all broken. I've since got some... Well, anyway, the whole bundle of what I got in scope, 60 quid for the lot. Honestly, I went down there not expecting too much, paid 60 quid, got 4 consoles, 5 controllers, I suppose, a couple of power leads, and all I've had to do to get them in working order was to go on Amazon, and I've bought 2 RGB SCART leads for the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2, and I bought another RGB SCART lead for the Xbox because that didn't have an AV lead either. So now I've got an Xbox. I had an extra PlayStation 3. I've since given it away to somebody that wanted one, and I've got a spare PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 if I want to do anything with it, although I already had a spare. So now I've got 3 PlayStation 1s, which I'm not even using. But there you go. But I couldn't pass it up. 60 quid for all that lot. I think I got a good deal. And I didn't already have an Xbox. I didn't really have much interest in the Xbox, to be perfectly honest. But having a look at some of the games that are available, I may have changed my mind on that. So I might start buying a few Xbox games. The only problem with it is that it does need... the drawer only opens once in every 5 or 6 times you try it, so I think there's rubber bands in the CD drive which I'm going to have to replace, but I can get round to that at some point. Anyway, so that was the first big pickup, and I was really pleased with that. Now, I could have come down and shown them off, but everybody knows what Xboxes look like, and you know, if you've got one, then you know what it looks like. If you don't have one, you probably don't care. So that was my first console pickup. I have got another console pickup, which is another, well, I think reasonably interesting story. I'll show you, first of all, what I'm talking about. Now, this is a machine called an Zavix Port. Now, these aren't very popular. They weren't very popular when they came out, but what it basically is, and I might do a video on this at some point, but what it basically is, it is a how would you call it? It's like I don't know what do you call it? It's like a motion control console, sort of, but it's infrared based. But bearing in mind that this is a motion control based console that came out almost 2 years before the Nintendo Wii did, so I know the Wii gets credit for bringing motion controls in the sort of the zeitgeist, but this console actually tried to do it first. But what's good about having one of these is that this sold reasonably well in the States. Now, even some console collectors in the States don't know about this console, but it did actually sell reasonably well. It sold somewhere in the 150,000 mark, if I'm not mistaken. So it didn't do amazing, but it did well enough. But obviously, this predates HDMI, so obviously the one in the States is an NTSC version. Well, this is the PAL version, and you never, ever, ever see these. Honestly, I think the sales numbers in PAL regions for this console were, somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but it's somewhere in the double-figured thousands. It's not very many at all. So what I do is I know about this. I knew about this console, and I'd known about it for a while, but I'd never actually seen one. So every now and then I keep an eye on eBay, and every few weeks or so I type in Zavix and see what comes up. Usually it's all stuff from the States, all NTSC stuff, which is fine. I could import one, but I really, really did want the PAL version. Now, as far as I'm aware, the only place in the United Kingdom, the UK, where this came out is Northern Ireland. It did come out in the Republic of Ireland for definite, but as far as I'm aware, it only came out in Northern Ireland. There was no England, Wales, Scottish release for this console. You can only buy these in Northern Ireland. I don't know why they just didn't release it in the rest of the UK, only in Northern Ireland. But a funny story was, I saw one of these come up, so I put a bid on it. I put a bid of it, including postage, I think at about 20 quid. And obviously, because nobody else was looking for it, I won that. But 2 hours later, 2 hours after this came up on eBay, another one came up. And I know, you never ever see these. And two came up in one day. So I thought, it's got to be worth a punt. So I put on another bid of another 20 quid. And I've ended up with two of them. And one of them came with the tennis bats and games. So it's all sort of motion control stuff. So what it basically works is you get the console, and then the game comes with its own controllers. So every game's got different controllers. And I'll probably do a more in-depth video on this at some point. Now, imagine you're looking for... It's basically waiting for a bus, isn't it? You wait for a bus and two come up at once. So I now have two PAL versions of the Zavix Port console. Unfortunately, one of them, they were both described in as new condition, and one of them definitely is. The first one that turned up, this is the one that was on its own. It didn't look like it had been out of the box. Honestly, it was pristine. The twist sticks were still on the wire, on the AV cables and things like that. So absolutely fine. The other one that turned up in the deal with the tennis bats, that was described in as new condition. Although when it turned up, it is very clear that somebody had spilt some sort of fizzy drink over it. It was all sticky, and when I went to, obviously it had gotten sticky, and it had gotten sticky into the cartridge slot, so I thought, well, no problem, I can just open it up, give it a clean and see what happens, you know, worth a punt. Unfortunately, whoever had spilt something all over it obviously hadn't cleaned it up, and the screws on the bottom have actually gone rusty. So I then attempt to actually take them out, because I know the first thing that will happen is they will head, and then I will never get them out of there. So I need to invest in some sort of, because it's these the tiny little radio screws that hold it together as well. So I need to invest in some tiny little micro screw extractor. I've got them for bigger screws, but I don't have them for that size of screw. They're just too small. So I need to get some sort of screw extractor that will do a screw that small before I can actually clean out the console and try and get it working. But I thought 40 quid for all that, even though one of the consoles obviously isn't in working order, I thought that's not too bad, because you never ever see these things. And if anyone, just as a side note here, if anyone is selling any PAL games, and it must be PAL games for a Zavix, I would like to, you know, get in touch, and you know, I might make you an offer. Especially if you've got the PAL version of the bowling game with the ball, because I really, that's the one I really want to play. Yeah, so that's it for the consoles. But I think that's an interesting little console there, and not a lot of people know about it. I may do a video on it at some point, I may not. But I thought 40 quid, that's not a good deal. So basically, I've spent 100 quid on 6 consoles, and all right, one of them doesn't work at the moment, but it may be able to be fixed. But that's it. I mean, that was fine. So I think that's all the console bits out of the way. So on to some other bits. This is one I found in CEX over in Harlow. I was in there buying some other things, and I just happened to glance up at the shelf and saw this. It's a PlayStation Move racing wheel, as you can see. Now, The gentleman behind the counter was very quick to point out that it did not come with a Move controller, but I already knew it didn't. But it was up on the shelf and it had a sticker on it saying £3, and I thought, well, I don't have one. It is in the box. It's not something I was particularly looking for, but you've got to take these opportunities when they come up. And I thought, £3, how can you go wrong, really? And, you know, I think these little control sticks fold out and things like that. So it's not... I mean, there's got to be at least £3 worth of plastic in here for a kick-off. And, you know, there's a sticker on the back here from Virgin Megastore that says 159 DHS. I don't know what currency that is. But it was originally 159 DHS in the box. So I literally have no I have no clue what that currency is. But when it was originally sold in Virgin Megastore, that's how much it was. So there you are. Another charity shop find here. Now, this isn't a game. This is a book, Titanfall book, and again, it's got the cover folded up in here. It's got, you know, some map stuff and things like that. Now, not a game I'm particularly interested in, but it's the full limited edition. Because of course everything's limited edition now, but this was £1 in my local charity shop, and I thought, well, I mean, it's a hardback book for £1. Even if it was a storybook for £1, I mean, I might throw it on eBay and get something for it. But there you are, game book for £1. Now this one was an eBay purchase because. And I think I got it at a bit of a discount because the cover's a little bit tatty, I suppose. And it is Ni no Kuni, as you can see, a guidebook for that. The Prima official guide. Now, it's not in the world's best condition, but I do have the game. I haven't played through it, and with RPGs, I really do like to have a guidebook to go with them. And it's not in as new condition, but it's not bad. You know, all the stuff's here. The pages aren't falling out. Blah blah blah. So, oh, excuse me. It's just a nice thing to have anyway. Another book. Obviously, I had to get this one. The Collector's Edition Complete Official Guide, Final Fantasy 15. Now, I didn't actually pay anything for this because somebody got me it as a Christmas present. So, thank you. And it's, you know, as new. It is brand new. I mean, I've taken the shrink wrap off and had a look through it, and it is brand new. So, brilliant. But I know that was new because somebody bought it for me. So, on to some of the other stuff. Now, as I just mentioned 5-10 minutes ago, I am now an Xbox owner. So, what is the unique selling point of an Xbox compared to the other consoles that are its other peer consoles? Now, the main selling point of having an Xbox is that you can modify it. So, how do you go about doing that? Well, there are certain things that you need to do. Like, number one, I need to get... Well, it's not essential that I get this, although I would like it. I need to take it apart and put in an IDE to, say, a drive converter so that I can put in a bigger hard drive. Now, this isn't essential, but IDE hard drives are getting less and less reliable and more expensive as time goes on. So if I ever needed to do it again, it would be quite nice to be able to do it with a SATA drive or maybe even a compact flash drive of some sort. So I'm going to need to internally modify it at some point. Now, there's another piece of hardware that you need to get in order to do this, and it is a Xbox controller to USB interface. So I've purchased one of them. I don't know how much it was offhand, but it wasn't very expensive. I think it was about £5. So look forward to seeing a video at some point when I do this, because I will get around to doing it. But that was just another little extra thing I got for an Xbox. Of course, The wisest amongst you will realise as well that there's another thing you need in order to modify an Xbox, and that is Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. So this is the one Xbox game I tracked down specifically. It took me a couple of days of going round second-hand shops and charity shops, not just in my town, but I went on the bus, went round places to try and get a copy. Now, it has to be the original version, from what I understand. I found plenty of versions that were the sort of greatest hits version. Now, it doesn't work with that one. You need a save game from this version, and I paid. Well, in fact, this has still got the sticker on it. £1 I paid for this in cash converters in. It doesn't say which town, but I'm pretty sure it was in Harlow. So £1 in cash converters. Funnily enough, I did find it in another shop, and when I took it to the counter, I thought, oh well, there was no game in it, and I thought, oh well, maybe they keep the games in a drawer behind the counter. No, it turned out somebody had been through that shop recently and had lifted all the discs out of the boxes. So there's a warning for you if you have a game shop: don't keep the discs in the boxes, you fucking idiots. So yeah, they had shelf after shelf of empty game boxes. So obviously I didn't buy that version. But yeah, I've got hold of Splinter Cell for the Xbox, so this is what you need if you want to modify an Xbox, is one of these and a copy of Splinter Cell. And when I get round to doing a video, obviously I'll explain that more in depth, how you do it. So I just picked up a few, since I knew I had an Xbox, I just picked up a few Xbox games. Now, I was specifically going for ones that only appeared on the Xbox, and as far as I know, I've been successful in that. So I've picked up Sega GT 2002. No instructions, unfortunately, but as far as I know, all of these that I'm going to show you were Xbox exclusives. So that's because I thought, well, I already collect quite a lot for PS2, so there's no point in me rebuying the same games on Xbox. Whether they're better, whether they're worse, is sort of irrelevant. I don't really want to play them again. So I'm going for the exclusives. Now, Halo, the first one, again, no instruction book, so not in the best condition, although I think this was about 20 pence or something like that. I mean, it was nothing. So I can always get a better version at some point when I'm actually properly looking for it. This is just stuff I've picked up as I've been going along. Halo 2 I bought as well. Really not that interested in Halo, I'll be honest with you. But the other reason for picking up Halo 2, and it goes back to this Xbox modding as well, is that if I need to update the firmware, this is the game you want to do it. To update the firmware on your Xbox to the latest version, because obviously you can't go online with an original Xbox anymore and do that. So if you need to update the firmware for any reason on the Xbox, this is the game you need to do it. Is Halo 2. And again, I don't think it matters with this one whether it's the original version or the re-released version. So anyway, Dead or Alive 3. Dead or Alive. I mean, what do you say about Dead or Alive? Everyone knows what it is, so there you go. And as far as I know, this is an Xbox exclusive as well. Project Gotham Racing. This is basically Gran Turismo on the Xbox, as far as I've come to understand. So I quite like Gran Turismo, so there you go. There's a game for me to play. So now, I just thought I'd pick up a few things so that when I do get the tray working and things like that, I've got a few things to play, so that's all. But as I come across exclusives in charity shops and things like that, I will pick them up. But I'm not. It's one of them things. I'm not going to go out of my way to collect for the Xbox, but when I see stuff that's at a good price and I want it, then that's what I'll do. Now, again, most of these are going to be charity shop pickups, I think. FIFA 11 on the Wii. I've got no interest in this game whatsoever. I picked it up basically because I didn't have it, and it was really, I mean, it must have been like pence. I just don't care. Geometry Wars Galaxies. Now, this is supposed to be pretty good. I haven't played it yet because my Wii isn't connected at the moment. But when I get round to it, maybe I will. In fact, let me have a think, because I think when I got this one home, I was a bit disappointed. Yeah, I don't know if you can see so well here, but the disc is absolutely... Well, I mean, it's not scratch, but it's... I don't know whether it'll play properly. Because the disc is not in the best nick. Now, I didn't notice that when I was buying it, because I was basically just sort of shoveling things about. So hopefully it will play, but it might not. But again, I haven't paid hardly any money for most of these ones that I'm going to show you in the next few minutes anyway. Super Buster Move. This is one that's... I mean, it's pretty fun. I mean, you know what Bust a Move is. It's a puzzle game. Now, the annoying thing about this is the local charity shop near me, I think it's Oxfam I bought this in. Now, I don't know why, but they have a nasty habit of putting marker pen over everything. Now, I've managed to get the marker pen almost off the disc, if you can see, just there where the S is, you can still see remnants of it. Now, I managed to get it off the disc. Now, it was permanent marker, and it was much easier to get it off the case. It was on all over the back of the case and on the barcode, and I've managed to get that off. And in fact, I can see, just noticing here, that this has been recased from something else at some point, because I don't think there's obviously been a hologram sticker on the corner here at one point, which I'm pretty sure is not on the original box of this game. So this has been recased from a sports game probably at some point along the line. But anyway, marker pen. Now, that is another video I intend to do at some point, is on how to get all these marks and stickers and things like that off of games. So stay tuned for that at some point, because I think I've worked out a reasonably good system for doing it, although I don't know any way of getting marker pen off of a paper manual without destroying the manual. So I don't know about that, but some other things I do know, so I can maybe let people know. Anyway, where were we? Rayman 3. Again, no manual. It's quite common with charity shop games, especially games that were aimed at children. They tend not to have manuals, but the case is in good nick, the disc is in good nick, so I'll give that a go. From Russia with Love, I don't know. Again, it's another one, picked it up because I didn't have it, so yeah. I think all of these were about 50 pence, maybe even cheaper than 50 pence, most of them. SSX3, yeah, again, another one, just bought it because I didn't have it. But you can see, because this is an EA game, so you expect to have a hologram there, but at some point somebody's tried to pick it off, you see. Irritating. I don't know why. I mean, pick off the stickers that have got prices and things, sure, but the little hologram stickers, they're part of the game. Now, next one I'm going to show you is a bit of a cheat, but because it's not something I actually bought, but it is something that I thought I sold. Now, I got rid of a massive stack of my PS1 games a few years ago, along with a lot of other games, Super Nintendo games and things like that. I got rid of a massive stack of them, and I thought I had sold this. It turns out I hadn't sold it, I just lent it to somebody that didn't give it back to me for years and years. And when I went round there just before Christmas, it just sort of turned up. And I'm like, oh, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, I used to have that. And he sort of went, well, yeah, it's yours. Oh, right, okay, can I have it back then? Well, yeah. Okay then. So, a game that I thought I'd sold, I actually hadn't sold. I just lent to somebody and forgot about it. So, it's not technically a pickup, but I just thought it was funny. It was like, well, okay, so that's back in my collection now. because that was one I really enjoyed. The only trouble with it is, obviously, when you're playing as Shang Tsung and you try and transform, the loading is a real pain in the arse. So if you ever do play Mortal Kombat Trilogy with a friend, one of the rules is you can't be Shang Tsung, because it spoils the game. It really is atrocious how long it takes to load every transformation. Anyway, let's get on. So, we're moving on to PlayStation 3. Natural Doctrine, I don't know anything about this game, but it did look pretty good, and I think this one was actually brand new. And it was less than a tenner, but it was brand new, shrink wrapped. I've taken the shrink wrap off because I don't keep the shrink wrap on my games. So there you are. I don't know anything about it, so I can't tell you. Rocksmith. Now, I already have a copy of Rocksmith, but it is the US version, and it didn't come in a case. The reason why I bought the US version when it didn't come in a case is because I found it on eBay about a year and a half ago, maybe more, maybe less, but it actually had the real tone cable with it, so you can plug in a guitar. This one did not come with a real tone cable, but I think it was about £1, so I thought, well, presumably the UK version or the PAL version will work with the cable I've got that came with the US version of the game. So I've got the cable now, and I've got a copy of the game in a box, so that's the only reason I bought it. Otherwise, if you are going to buy this game, it is utterly useless without that cable, and the cable is the thing that goes for the money. So that's what you need. So if you see this one out and about, unless you're going to shell out for the cable, the real tone cable that goes with it, then don't bother, because you're just going to have a coaster you can't do anything with. But because I already had the cable, it was worthwhile me spending £1 on the game. Ride to Hell Retribution. Now, apparently, this game is utter bullshit. But it's one of these ones where everyone that I've seen talk about this game says it is quite possibly the worst game. I mean, lots of people say it's the worst game of all time. I mean, that's not true. I mean, I imagine that only people that say that are about 15 years old and don't know anything about games from the past, which, as we all know, were far worse. But what basically happened was I went into... And the next 4 games are going to be this same story. I went into Game, and they were doing a silly deal on PlayStation 3 games. I think it was like 5 for a fiver. So I thought, fuck, why not? So I just picked up 5 games at random and didn't really care what they were. But I did actually pick this one up deliberately because I've heard such bad things about it that I thought I've got to play it at some point just to see how bad it is. So it's basically curiosity which made me pick this one up. Dark Void, again, that was on the same 5 for a fiver deal. I don't know anything about this game either. But again, this is the sort of thing I was talking about with stickers. Now, Game are one of the worst for this, because these stickers do not come off manuals. Well, they do. There's a trick to it, and I will show that in a video at some point. So stay tuned for that. But at the moment, I haven't done that. And in fact, I might leave this on and use this as an example in the video that I'm doing. So, because that's actually quite a good one. Because as you can see, it's not even the whole sticker. Some of it's sort of torn and some of the bits are left. So this would actually be a good one to show how well my tips work. Storm Rise is another one. Now, this is one that I picked up on the same deal, 5 for a fiver, as I said. And it's the little Sega logo there that got me going, because I mean, when I see Sega or Nintendo on something, it fills me with nostalgia. So I just tend to pick up stuff like that. It's for the same reason that I picked up Bayonetta. Well, actually, I picked up Bayonetta because I wanted to play Bayonetta, but the fact that it's a Sega game helps. Ferrari Challenge, this is one that I did want to play as well, although I have heard since I wanted to play it that since I picked it up, I've had a little research, and it turns out that this one's actually quite boring. But I didn't have it, and now I do. SingStar, well, what do you say about SingStar? Now, my girlfriend absolutely loves SingStar. For me, I can do it. I can sing. I can do it. But it's not a game, is it? It's karaoke. But I didn't have any. In fact, no, I do have one SingStar game. I don't know which one. I think it's ABBA or something like that. But anyway, this was on the 5 for a fiver deal, and I couldn't see anything else that I actually, so I just picked it up. Why not? Right, only a few games left now. How long have we been going on? 37 minutes, bloody hell. Actually, that's not as long as I thought. But then, because I didn't actually bring the consoles down to show at the beginning, maybe I was thinking it was going to be longer. No. Let's get these in some sort of... Well, there's no way that's going to be in some sort of order. Oh yeah, go on. I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. So I'll put them like that sort of thing, I suppose. Nitro Plus Blasters Heroines Infinite Duel. Now, I don't know anything about this one, and I haven't played it. It seems to be a 2D fighter, which I like. And basically, the only reason I bought this is because I was on Amazon, and it came up as a suggested choice, and it was about £8 or something. And as soon as I was ready doing an Amazon order, I thought, well, I won't have to pay any extra delivery on that, so I just bought it. Brand new, I don't know anything about it, I haven't played it, I still don't have a PlayStation 4 by the way, although that may change in the next couple of months because I intend on buying one. I still haven't joined the 8th generation at all. I still have to get around to buying a Wii U, which I've been looking at this week, but I've just been outbid twice on eBay today, so... because I don't want to pay a fortune for it. And in fact, I dare say that when it comes round to March, when the Switch comes out, I imagine that the Wii U prices, second-hand prices, will plummet. So, yeah. Now I think... no, we're not entirely in that. Right, Final Fantasy 15, again, I got this as a Christmas present, so I didn't pay anything for it. Now... It's not the special edition. It's the day one edition, but it's not the special edition. So at some point, because I like Final Fantasy stuff, I may well invest myself in the what did I say? The collector's edition. But for now, I don't have a PlayStation 4 to play it, but I'm quite happy to have it for when I do, because of the sort of AAA stuff that's coming out on PlayStation 4, that was one that I would have bought anyway. So now we're getting into some of the more indie titles, and again, the next 5 are going to be all limited run games. That's not me pretending they are limited run, that's the name of the company that's putting them out. So I'll start off with the 2 Shantae games. So we've got Pirate's Curse and Risky's Revenge. Now, Shantae is a game that was on the Game Boy Advance. It's actually quite a rare game on the Game Boy Advance, if you can find that. But they've redone a couple of the... They've redone basically these as PlayStation 4 ports. Now, as usual, with limited run, you get the little postcard and the sticker and a reasonable approximation of an instruction book, but these ones also have reversible covers as well, the Shantae ones, which is quite nice. I'm not going to go into amazing detail on these because at some point I plan on doing a video on PlayStation 4 indie games, because I've started to build up quite a collection of them. So although I haven't bought a PS4 yet, when I do get around to getting one, I've got about 30 games I can play from day one, so I'm quite happy about that. Another limited run game, stealthing, A Clone in the Dark. I'll see what they've done there. Although if you weren't aware of the series Alone in the Dark, you might not know what they've done at all. But yeah, that's just this is standard cover. paper thin, one piece of paper as an instruction manual, postcard, sticker, limited run, blah blah blah. You know the story by now. Firewatch. Now this is one that I was looking forward to getting because I heard this was coming out. Now, Limited Run put this out, but the company that makes it, Campo Santo, they also put this out on their own website. So, although, I mean, all Limited Run games get scalped. That's just a fact of life. If you're not there to buy it from the website, you might never see it for a reasonable price again. But this one's upset the scalpers somewhat, because I think a lot of them didn't realise that this was coming out by Limited Run games, and then there was another batch coming out being released on the Campo Santo website. Now, from what I gather, the Campo Santo website took 2 or 3 days to actually sell out of its run. Limited Run sold out within 20 minutes of the first batch, and then 30 minutes from the second batch. But I think Campo Santo's own website took 3 days to sell out, so that's caught the scalpers off guard. So you might well be able to still get this one at a reasonable price if you look quickly before people start hoarding them. Now, me myself, I only want one copy because it's only for me. I know there are people that get stuff from Limited Run games and then immediately put them up on eBay for, £100 or whatever. But I can't. I'm not going to the effort to ruin somebody's day like that. Anyway, another Limited Run, the last Limited Run one, Lone Survivor, the director's cut. And again, sticker, postcard, blah, blah, blah. Apparently they add something to the value. I don't know. I'm keeping them anyway, just in case I ever do try and sell. Because then, like I say, I don't want to scalp them now. I want to play them. But if I ever do decide to sell them, I want to make sure I'm making my money back. So, may as well keep all the bump that goes with them that people seem to care about. Now, the last game I want to show you is, this is another... It's not really an indie game, but this is one. It's put out by a company called Badland Games. Now, this is Anima, Game of Memories. As far as I'm aware, it's like an RPG-ish type thing, sort of. But what Badland do, and I think they're a British company. They may be based in Europe, maybe Germany, but I think they are a British company. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. I'm sure you will. And they've tried to do the same sort of thing as Limited Run. But instead of doing it in quantities from their own website, what they've done is they've actually put their stuff out in retail stores. Now, it's still indie games that they are backing, and it's still indie companies that Badland Games is putting on disc for them. But their road to market isn't through an online store, it's through retail stores where you would normally go and pick up games. So these games are making their way into the hands of more people that actually want to play them, and you're not getting this situation where scalpers are setting up multiple accounts and able to just buy hundreds of them from a website. They have to actually go into a store and buy them, which makes things a lot more complicated for those that want to shill these out to try and make some money. Now, this is one I wanted to get my hands on, and I've seen, this is a funny one for me, because I have seen plenty of copies of this game go on eBay for very, very reasonable money. Not unreasonable, very reasonable. They normally go for about somewhere between £15 and £20. But they're all at that price. They're usually incomplete, because this game came at retail with a soundtrack disc, which I have got. So what basically happened, I was in Cambridge last Monday, so 6 days ago I was in Cambridge, and I wasn't there to buy games. I just happened to walk into the game shop as I was there to do other things. I had 10 minutes to kill, so I walked into the game shop. And I just saw it on the shelf, and it was £12 something, £12.99 I think. So I took it up to the counter and I said to the guy, perfectly friendly, does this come with the soundtrack disc? at that price, because I couldn't believe it did. I mean, like I say, if normally if the soundtrack disc's included and you see these on eBay, you're talking 25-ish quid, maybe 30. But yeah, it's got the soundtrack disc. It's also got the manual with all the art pictures in the back. You don't get sort of art print postcards with this one, unfortunately. They're just a couple of extra pages at the back of the manual with some artwork in it. So that's okay. And the disc. So I was perfectly happy and paid by card, so I wasn't really paying attention. And then when I got home, this absolute gitting game, what he'd done is he'd charged me for a disc care, which is a bullshit thing they do in game, where they put a 50p surcharge on something, but normally they ask you whether you want it or not. And the idea behind it is that it's supposedly, if something goes wrong with the disc, they'll basically warranty it. Now, I refuse to warranty second-hand games, because as far as I'm concerned, if I put that in a PlayStation 4 and it doesn't work, I'm bringing it back and I'm getting my money back. I don't give a fuck about whether you've decided to. It's basically like an extended warranty. And the thing is that annoys me is it's only 50p, but the git didn't ask me and charged me anyway. And it was only when I got home and looked at the receipt, I thought, and I looked at the sticker. I've since taken the price sticker off, but I looked at the $12.99. Why has he charged me $13.49? And then it was disc care. I thought, he didn't even ask. So watch out for that. If you go in the game shop in Cambridge, there's a guy that works in there that's putting disc care on stuff when he didn't ask you. So do watch out for that. Now, on that cheerful note, I think I'm finished with this pickups. Now, like I say, I would have liked to have shown all the consoles I bought, but to be perfectly honest, I couldn't be. I'm recording this downstairs and the stuff's upstairs, and I couldn't be asked lugging them down the stairs because Xboxes are reasonably heavy. So I thought I'd show off the more interesting consoles from what I think. So what's coming up next? Obviously, if you've got any feedback or you've got anything of interest, or you have some Zavix stuff, PAL formatted stuff that you want to offload and send me an email. But feedback's always nice. For anything that I've said or done here or in another video, if you want, like, subscribe, blah de blah, you know the routine by now. So if you saw the previous video, you'll know about what's been going on, and you'll know the reason why it looks like my channel is a bit stagnant at the moment. But rest assured, I will be re-recording the Generation 5 stuff, and it will be going up. But understand that a pickups video takes almost no editing at all, because I've got there's going to be no graphics appearing in the corner here that I've got to sort of track down, resize, fade in, fade out, all the other thing. No, all that. This is a sort of behind the scenes stuff, This is a peek behind the curtain. For anyone that hasn't done editing, is that for one picture that I have to put up in the corner of the screen, that may only take a minute and a half, maybe. By the time I've resized it and fade in, fade out, whatever, all the stuff that I normally do to actually get the stuff to appear. But if I have to do that with 30 pictures and get them in the right place so that the pictures appear when I'm talking about them and things like that, that actually takes quite a lot of time to do. Whereas something like a pickups video takes no time at all, because it's literally going up pretty much edited as I've done it. I'll take out the bits where I cough and swear and fart and stop for a drinks break or whatever, but apart from that, that's all the editing needs to be done. So these are very quick to do, to render and then to upload. So this is why this one's going up first. I will get round to re-recording the other videos, so they will go up eventually, but it might be in a few days' time. It'll probably be this Friday, I would imagine they start to go up, because I'm planning on recording them Wednesday or Thursday. That's if I can find the time, because it turns out there's actually quite a lot going on for me personally at the moment. Yeah, so I think that's about it. So do stay tuned for that, and like I said, if you've got any feedback on anything I've shown, or if you've got any suggestions for stuff that, bearing in mind that I am new to the world of collecting for Xbox games, so if you've got any suggestions of stuff that I should be picking up that you think is the best stuff for console exclusive stuff. Now, bearing in mind that the only reason I bought the Halo games is because they are console exclusive, not because I particularly want to play them. So first-person shooters aren't my bag. But if there's anything else that you want to suggest for Xbox that's a console exclusive that I should be picking up, because I know... I won't say I know nothing about the Xbox, but I know far less about it than I do about the Wii and the PlayStation 2. Or I suppose the GameCube's the equivalent to Xbox, isn't it? But again, I mean, the Xbox is included in a Wii, so the GameCube's included in a Wii, so I've effectively got a GameCube anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, but I'm sort of new to the Xbox, so if there's anything you want to particularly suggest for that, then that might be useful to me. And that's it. Now, my budget for the next couple of months, because I am saving up to hopefully buy a Wii U and PlayStation 4, my pickups for the next couple of months are probably going to be more charity shop stuff. I know there's been quite a bit of charity shop stuff this video. I think it's probably going to be more so. There's going to be less eBay stuff, so there's going to be less full price stuff, but hopefully that means I might get a few more deals, because instead of sitting at home typing, I might actually be out and about in various different towns and locales looking for good deals on stuff, because the budget has to stretch a little bit further. I think I've rambled on enough. I will see you in the next video, which hopefully should be the Atari Jaguar one for Generation 6, if you're watching them in chronological order. Obviously, if you're watching them in playlist order, that won't be the next video. The next one will probably be a pickups one or some sort of ramblings, but you get the idea. Yeah, I'll see you then, and take care.